Welcome back, you conquerors of unknown lands, to yet another exciting day of Let's Play Aidyn Chronicles. Aidyn Chronicles, yes, the game where we were headed towards the Lighthouse of Power! Not really, it's just a lighthouse. Anyway, if you were wondering, this is one of the locations where if you line it up correctly and run into this intersection, this vortex, not really sure what the mathematical term is, this connection of two planes of polygons, you can clip through here and just fall off the edge of the world. It's pretty funny. It's kind of hit or miss whether you can get it to work, though, so I'm not going to sit here and try it too long. But if you want to give it a try on your own, go for it. It's pretty funny. Yes, we were headed towards the lighthouse, and after that we were going to go dip by Talawalk to spend the massive sum of EXP we have been hoarding this entire time. You know what? We don't even need Beacon for this. I'm gonna have Beacon run this way. He'll intersect the ogres that come and spawn in. Yes, but we are traveling to the lighthouse, which is not lit because something assaulted the lighthouse. Probably had something to do with Shamsuk, that bastard, and also a guy with a pet mouse who jumped out the window. We're lighting... Oops, skipped Rita's turn for no reason. We're lighting the lighthouse, of course, because we want to go to Cardog's Isle. Lucky guy, he has a whole island named after him. And of course we want to do that because we want to see if he can give us a name. I'm sure the master namer, the most powerful naming wizard in all of this part of Aidyn, has the ability to give us a name, right? That's probably where the game ends. You just walk up to him and say, "Hey, Cardog, give us a name." And he's like, "Oh, okay, here you go." And then it's like, "Congratulations, you won." Given my experience, that's usually how RPGs go, right? Probably not. So again, I don't know why the developers decided to throw ogres at you at this stage of the game. They're literally monsters we've been fighting since the beginning, and while they were somewhat threatening at the beginning of the game, they are kind of a pushover joke at this point. They're big, they're easy to hit, and at this point our armor is pretty sufficient that they're not going to hit us. Anyway, we're down to the last one, so not too bad. Oh, can't you just leave? Just watch 7 of your friends die and you're like, but maybe if ogre walk over to tiny human, ogre stand chance. No, ogre. You should have left. Alright. Well, 7,200 EXP. No, I don't want to drop leather armor. We are pretty close to the lighthouse at this point. It's right up there. Do a quick inventory check. You know, we do have quite a few regents here. Should probably get rid of some. You really want to kind of run around the 80 mark. Let's see, this uses 2 spice and 3 herbs. Stamina uses 2 herbs. It makes no sense. I know I've said that already. We'll make, like... So we've used 9 spice, 12, 15, 18. That's probably good. Fortunately, we don't have any potions that we want that use gemstones. Early on in my playthroughs of the game, I made a pretty extensive use of... That's a nice lighthouse. Made extensive use of defense potions, which I believe use gemstones. The problem is, now that we have air shield, defense potions seem like a joke. A lot of bandits around the lighthouse. This is interesting because we gathered that Shamsuk was responsible for the monsters that attacked the lighthouse and put out the flame, possibly because Shamsuk wanted Cardog to be separated off from the bulk of civilization. Probably because he knew that the Wilding would seek Cardog, or that Cardog was not in agreement with Shamsuk's methods. So he was like, alright, old man, let's isolate you on the island. Seemed like a pretty chess-like move. A event put into motion even before things started happening. Or is it recent? It's hard to tell. Might have been a recent thing. Actually, it probably is. Why else would that guy be on the rock? Still out there. He probably would have, like, starved to death. Okay, so bandits are hitting. They're only doing 1 damage. Very consistently, they're only doing 1 damage. You get a tap stamina on Alaron, a little annoying. Go ahead and swap. Make this guy swap from his bow to his assumedly sword. I'm gonna waste a turn. And Beckon's fine over there. But yeah, we have the scroll, right? Because we went into the cave of Shamsuk, got the scroll to relight the lighthouse. We also got the key from the guy who jumped out of the lighthouse window and ended up on a rock next to a beach. These are just regular wolves. Why are these regular wolves? They at least should be like dire wolves, right? I mean, it wouldn't make much sense, but you could have like a spirit wolf in here. Anyway, all I'm trying to get at is that sometimes the monsters in Aidyn Chronicles tell a story, right? Like, their placement is there for purposes of, like, showing events happening in the world. So are we to assume, then, that Shamsuk hired these bandits? Or are we to assume that these bandits are up here looking to loot the lighthouse now that it's no longer guarded? I would assume it's the latter rather than the former, because later on when we go into the lighthouse, we'll see that it's filled with wyverns. And if you remember, the wyverns were the creatures on the beach that we had to kill before the lighthouse guy would feel safe. And then he gave us the key to the lighthouse. I think I might have already said this, but you don't have to rescue him. In fact, the first time I went through the game, I didn't even realize he was there. There are alternate routes into the lighthouse, but if you want to get in through the main door, you have to have the key. You can't pick the lock. It's a very special lock, apparently. Even if you have 10 lockpick, it will not budge. So, anyway, putting all those pieces together, we have to assume these bandits out here are just literally here to loot the lighthouse. Taking advantage of the chaos that has happened since the evacuation of the lighthouse caretaker. And his pet mouse, Agatha, rest in peace. These wolves at this point are just more time-consuming and annoying. It might as well not even be a factor in the fight. Picking up more spice. Alright, so we'll do a little run around the lighthouse. Kind of a nice place, really. Also, there's this giant ogre behind it. Are the ogres... Why are the ogres up here? The bandits make sense. Bandits are human. Did the ogres come up here and they were like, let's loot the lighthouse? Yeah, how would they even know that the lighthouse is unprotected? And furthermore, how would they get up here and not run into the human bandits? Like, I sincerely doubt that human bandits and ogres would get along very well. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they run in the same circles. I feel like it would be a very fragile alliance if it did exist. Anyway, even at this point, ogre bosses are not threatening, so it's kind of just a running through the cycles. The motions, that's what it is. We're just running through the motions of combat here. We don't need to think about this. Mash A and attack. Okay, fine. I say that and Beckon takes an axe to the head. I used to be the king of... Or what did they call him? The tiger of... No, that's Dynasty Warriors. What did they call Beckon? Something of the Lonely Mountain, which I swear they stole from Tolkien, right? Maybe it wasn't called the Lonely Mountain. What was it called? It was the battle with all the goblins, and he saves Phelan. Whatever. He's like, I used to be a renowned general, and then I took an axe to the head. I know. All that setup just for an axe to the head joke. Alright, well, this ogre boss is probably not going to leave because he wants us to prove mathematically, painstakingly, no stone left unturned that we can kill him. He's like, I'm pretty sure I just saw you kill my 4 friends, but on the off chance I could still win this fight, and somehow, through the laws of RNG, hit every single one of my attacks and you miss all of your attacks for the next 200 attacks and 50 curing potions. I'm willing to bet my life on that chance, says the ogre boss. Yeah, I tend to notice this a lot, actually, in D&D-esque games. I would say Aidyn Chronicles is kind of a D&D-esque game, or a tabletop-esque game. It certainly has similar characteristics, like needing to be able to roll to hit an enemy. When you think about Final Fantasy, typically missing is considered abnormal, and hitting, you know, is the bonus. Or, sorry, what am I saying? My mind isn't working. One moment. Okay. But yeah, you know, in games like in JRPGs, typically in JRPGs. Hold on, before we even go into this. So this is the lighthouse. We could go through the front door. We have the key. We're not going to. We're going to take the secret entrance. Anyway, typically in JRPGs, you hit the attack button, your character runs over, swings an oversized sword, and you hit the enemy. There's no like, oh, but you have to maintain your Thaco to their armor class, otherwise you miss. There's usually none of that. Missing only ever occurs if there's an enemy with a particularly high dodge chance, but then again, that's usually how it's advertised, as a dodge chance, not like to hit armor class 0 or something. So that's why I would describe this game sort of as a tabletop dungeon D&D-esque game. And oftentimes in these games, the early bits of the game are extremely difficult, especially for newcomers. I mean, they weren't extremely difficult for us, but we did have to be a lot more careful. I think it's because you have less negotiating power in a fight. And this is what I mean, actually. We're sort of in the basement of the lighthouse. And you can see here, we see a wyvern. Well, this is a Draco Vern, but... Anyway. Yeah, so you have less negotiating power in early parts of D&D-esque games, because typically you don't have spells or abilities, or if you do, they're like useless, or they're once a day, or their benefits aren't terribly significant, and it oftentimes just comes down to your character's ability to roll correctly with their weapon and pierce the enemy's armor class, which is why fighters, in general, in most D&D kind of games, D&D type games, that's, yeah. So in most D&D type games, the fighters oftentimes shine early on, and it takes the other classes a little while to catch up, because they need to get their abilities and stuff first. All right, so we're going to loot some of the stuff we found here in the caves underneath the lighthouse. We did get a sun shield, pile of treasure here, a maul, a couple of gemstones. We have too many gemstones, and 5,394 gold. At least that's a relevant amount of gold instead of 100 in a treasure chest. But yeah, So in D&D-esque games, and this is of course extended to the games like Baldur's Gate or the old Fallout games, the early parts are often hard, but then you reach this point where you've kind of figured out how the game works, or if you're new to the game, you know, you've wandered around aimlessly and fought 10,000 monsters, your characters are super leveled, or if you're a veteran of the game, you've gotten the chance to get the skills that you need to win, or to leverage your experience in the game. And the game becomes a lot less threatening. It often comes sort of down to like a rinse and repeat of mechanics that you already understand. And I feel like that's sort of where we are in Aidyn Chronicles right now. These fights aren't really difficult anymore. And the monsters they're throwing at us are either the same gosh darn monsters we've been fighting since the beginning of the game, or they're just variants of enemies that kind of just do the same thing as enemies that we've already fought early on in the game. And so we're not really threatened by anything. All this time we've been walking towards Port Said. I mean, I guess we did run into a little bit of trouble with some of the wyverns. The wyverns admittedly are still the ones that can pose a threat just due to their ability to starlight web people. But in general, we haven't ran into any super threatening monsters. And we haven't ran into any super threatening, well, monsters on the way to Port Said, and then any monsters on the way to the lighthouse. And I doubt we're going to run into anything in the lighthouse. So yeah, in general, I guess this is kind of the part of most D&D-esque games where you just get to feel a little powerful until the end game, where they're like, okay, the players are at the end of the game, we really have to throw things that are powerful against them. Plus, it's kind of a balancing issue as well. It's really difficult for a game designer to sort of know the overall power level of any player at any given point in time. Like, some players... Oh, that's a terrifying noise. Okay, a bunch of potions here. Well, not a bunch. 4 curing and 4 stealth. More bandits. It seems like the bandits managed to get inside. You know, the lighthouse guy did say... Not the lighthouse guy. The captain. Alaron? The captain did say that people could climb in through the window, but he just said that nobody came back alive. So perhaps these bandits came in through the window. But yeah, typically balancing a game, especially in the middle bits, is particularly hard because there are going to be players that do what we do, which is fight everything, explore everything, so we're probably going to be more powerful than the average player. Not because we exhibited some large amount of skill or something, we just took the time to go everywhere. And then you're going to have players that don't want to do that, and they're going to run straight to the objective, and they're going to be a lot weaker. Or you're going to have players that don't know what they're doing, and they end up in a location way sooner than they're supposed to. Although that's a little more difficult to do in Aidyn Chronicles because you're, by and large, kind of gated from entering certain locations until you do the storyline bits. But yeah, because of those factors, in the middle of the game, it's very difficult for the designers to know how strong the players are going to be. Whereas in the beginning and the end, at least, they can kind of have a better idea. Like, obviously in the beginning of a game, designers are going to know exactly how strong a player is. And there's a lot more limited options that the players can take, a lot less gear they have potential access to, and so they can craft the game around that power level that the players have. But because we're kind of in the midpoint, we're running into a lot of enemies that are super weak. Although admittedly this bandit fight is pretty on par with where we are. These bandits are taking hits and still coming. They're dealing damage back. I would say this fight is probably on par with the danger level of things that we probably should be encountering at this point, but all of the ogres and things we fought coming up here were super weak. Man, all these guys are just like an inch from death. Dragon Flames wasn't quite able to take them out. And yeah, usually at the end of the game, the developers get free reign to sort of up their game. Partially because they know that the players should have probably explored most of the world at that point, or large parts of it. And if a player has made it to the end of the game, the designers no longer have to worry about, oh no, if we throw things that are too strong against them, they'll quit playing the game. Because if they've made it to the end, then they probably... If they're too weak at the end of the game, it's probably their fault for not paying attention or not going out and like finding things. So Brenda's taking a lot of hits here. We're gonna go ahead and heal her with a curing potion. I wasn't too worried, although she did drop pretty low. I'm not sure why I was confident that she wasn't gonna die. Seems like a good time to fireball these things. These people, these bandits. If we can get the angle right, I think we can get all four without hitting any of our party. Yep, just like that. Should be the death of the boss, yeah. That's good. I don't think he got a chance to cast Spirit Shield on these guys, so they're going to be a little easier to fight. They all have Dragon Fangs. That's how you know they mean business. So the other thing we're worried about is maybe if they just focus fire Alaron. But... okay, good. That one goes for Beacon. So we're fine. But yeah, this fight is certainly on par with the power level, I feel like, of things that are dangerous to us. We're going to play it safe and just have Alaron use a curing potion. Just kind of removes one more loss factor from the game. Oh, we picked up that sun shield. So we need to equip that sun shield. It's a good shield. It's kind of a benchmark shield. You're always going to go to the lighthouse, so you're usually always going to find it. It's a pretty good shield. It's not as good as the Chaos Shields. I'm really surprised that we have 2 Chaos Shields this early. I mean, it's not unheard of, but it's pretty fortuitous. Because they are not guaranteed. I mean, you could be at this point in the game and have 0. Yeah, we got 2 resists on Dragon Flames. That's a little annoying. Beacon, meanwhile, consistently dealing 50 damage with his backstabs. It helps that he's targeting things that aren't spirit shielded. Rita has been missing all of her attacks, and I think that's probably because we've reached a point where these kinds of monsters are beyond, they've surpassed Rita's base stats with the spear. Rita tends to have pretty good accuracy with the spear. I'm not sure why. Maybe the spear just has a decent 2-hit chance. I think these guys are probably too strong for her. And this tends to happen when you don't turn Rita into a fighter, in my opinion, is she falls off pretty hard at this point in the game. Because what does she do? I guess it's not entirely fair. I don't have a ton of experience with naming spells. Maybe there's something I was missing. I did a couple weeks back read a forum post about somebody talking about how they taught Rita stupidity. And anytime they ran into an enemy that casts spells, they would just have her stupefy the enemy. And so they would waste all their turns trying to cast spells that they couldn't cast. So maybe that's an angle of using Rita that I'm not taking advantage of, but who knows? We'll figure it out when we get to Talabok. One of these takes us out of the lighthouse. Here we go, yeah. There's a moderately dangerous trap. We shouldn't need to disarm it, but let's go ahead and disarm. Oh. Oh, okay. It was just disarming the trap, but not the door. You can't get into the door, I don't think, unless you have the key. Although it might have unlocked because we went in through the out direction. Oh, right. Sun shield, sun shield. But yeah, I don't know what Rita's really contributing to the party right now. Sun Shield's pretty good. Can only be equipped by solar people, but it provides 4 and 6 protection. The only real penalty is a -3 on dex, but a large shield will give you a -3 on dex, but only gives 3 and 4, whereas this gives 4 and 6, which is pretty good. -10 stealth really doesn't matter. And resist solar for 50, I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know of any solar aspect spells, so I don't know how you resist solar by 50. I don't know if that means you get resistance against people who are aligned in the solar aspect or what. Anyway, we're walking up to the lighthouse. We're finally here. All we gotta do is light this puppy. Maybe we just run over and hit A. I hope the scroll works. Unem vos Alaron zos. Lightus parabolo daishan. Tosh. I don't think those words meant anything. Alright, so the lighthouse is lit. That's about it. Well, our job here is done. We're just gonna leave now. Down these beautiful stairs. These beautiful stairs whose angles make my head hurt. And that's pretty much it. Not very eventful, our trip to the lighthouse, although it does provide the sun shield, which is nice. And that's just the passage we took to get down there. Through the cave. You don't need the key, obviously, to get in. So it's kind of neat. I think it's neat that there's an alternate entrance. It's kind of hidden. You're not going to think to check down there every time you play the game. Or the first time you play the game, rather. Otherwise, yeah, I don't think any of the monsters respawn, so we just get a free walk back home. In fact, we're now going to head to Talawalk. Finally spend all that EXP and get some super spells. And then all shall love us and despair. It's gonna be a long walk, so we're gonna need something to analyze. Let's analyze the party again. Typically we analyze them quite a bit, but let's analyze them as a whole. So Beacon is our tank fighter with the backstab capabilities. He has no ability to cast spells. He is essentially, he fulfills the role of frontline tank and damage dealer. And I don't think we need him to do anything else other than that. So, what? We give him a couple more points in Warrior, and then what? Dump all of our EXP into HP and Stamina? Because, I mean, what else? What was that? What? Why did you respawn, Ogre? Anyway. So we don't really need him to contribute to the team, other than to be the guy who stands in front of everyone and doesn't die. Then you got Brenna. Brenna used to be our main damage dealer, and she's not anymore, which is surprising. I'm used to her... Wow, all the ogres respawn. It's insane. I'm used to her being kind of the height of single target damage, and overall DPS in general, for that matter. Because when you think about it, I usually go through the game with, like, the party we have now, and then I swap off the fourth person over and over because I'm bored, and so that fourth person is usually super weak because they're never in the party long enough to level up. And yeah, with just the stealth blade and whatever else we give Brenna on top of... Whoa! What is that thing? I don't remember there being a chaos monster that guards the path back to Talawalk. I'm actually really curious here. I usually don't make this trip, right? Super weird. Chaos Slayer. Otherwise known as, like, Super Shredder. Okay, so he's casting Haste. Scouts be damned, we don't need Scouts anymore. He's casting Verse Elemental? But it's failing? No, it's not failing, it just has weird graphics. Shoot. So Fireball's off the table. That's a Chaos Lieutenant. We have Chaos Lieutenants and Chaos Slayers. Casting Debilitation, I believe that lowers our armor. Shiza! What is going on here? Then we have 4 either Sorcerers or Spellweavers coming up behind this. Oh my goodness, and they have Starlight Shield. Guys, this is going to be a fight. This is going to be an actual throwdown. I'm not entirely certain we can win this. Oh, you dirty son of a... We certainly can't win if they're going to be casting a Wall of Bones on everyone. We stood a chance if all they did is come over and attack us, but what on earth? Do they just not want us going back to Talawak? Alright, let's... This is interesting. I want this to be our new challenge. This is no longer the game about going to Cardog Isle and having a happy, fun time on a boat after fixing a lighthouse. This is now the game of how do we get back to Talawak? Huh. Let's save the game. Let's see if... I'm going to be honest. Without some serious save scumming and grinding, I don't think we're ever going to win that fight. Let's give Becken a stealth potion. I know the stealth potions I said were useless. Let's see if he can sneak past him. I mean, I know this looks ridiculous, but it might work. Totally is gonna work. I don't know how long stealth potions last, though. I, like, never use them. You're kidding me. It works. And Arturo! Arturo, you just let this thing on the bridge? Buddy, you're supposed to be guarding the bridge. Not letting whatever behemoth decides to come. Okay. What are you doing here, buddy? You're still here? Beg to report, sir, but, well, the bridge has to be guarded. It's the nightly thing to do. That may be, but I'm not sure people of Port Said want to be guarded. Alaron, did you see the hideous creature on the bridge? Do you think a true knight would defy the will of the people we claim to protect? I suppose not. But what then, sir? I don't know what to do instead. Why don't you wait for us in Port Said at the inn? But what will I do there? It's a busy place. Maybe someone will need a questing knight. I know if I ever need a fighting companion, I'll look you up there. You have given me hope, sir. Sir, whoops. I will let travelers pass, but I will stay at my post. Then everyone will see how dutiful I am. If you ever need help, though, sir, I'll be ready to join you. Well, alright. If I ever need you, I'll look for you here. Farewell. Man, I really want to fight those Slayers, but we just can't do anything. If they're gonna haste themselves, take like 17 turns before we can respond, and then cast Wall of Bones on people. Like, maybe if Rita had a turn before they took their turn, we could cast Necromancy, and then maybe stand a chance, but yikes. Seems like certain enemies respawn. Most of them are gone, though. I can hear them walking around. I can't even remember what we were talking about. Oh, we were analyzing the party. Becken wants to stand in front and be a tank. Rita is our weak link. She doesn't contribute anything meaningful to the party right now. Not really. She's just a body. She's our potion maker, but anybody can be a potion maker. Anyone who can learn alchemy, anyway. Alaron is becoming an elemental mage in his own right. Brenna is our lockpicker and trap disarmer, on top of being a pretty decent source of damage. Right, I was saying I'm used to Brenna being the height of damage on my team, but I think Alaron is pretty up there. And honestly, Beckon, when he gets his backstabs off with the axe, is pretty strong too. Probably stronger than Brenna at this point. So yeah, everyone, the weakest link is definitely Rita. We need to figure, oh, I don't want to fight you, buddy. Alright, well. That's so many bandits. Alright, I think maybe we can just get by with having Alaron fireball them all. Will they just die if we do that? I'm hoping. Man, though, I really want to fight that Chaos Slayer, but I know in the back of my head, in order to do it, we would have to grind for so long, and you guys don't want to see that. It's just... I was going on and on about how there's no more challenging enemies, and then suddenly this super team shows up and is like, "We've come for your lands and children." And we just had to meekly say, okay, goodbye. Alright, I thought these were gonna be weak human bandits. They managed to take one round of fireballs. Hopefully they'll die on the second round, though. Well, I suppose one of them died. Maybe they'll die on the third round. We're not afraid of the bandits, we're just moving everyone over preemptively for when the other ones spawn in. I really wish I knew why sometimes we roll 60 on the fireball. If I could isolate what factors lead to that, I feel like we could take advantage of it more often. Now, I didn't think about this, though. We might not have gotten a chance for Rita to respond, or it certainly didn't help our chances for Rita to respond, because she is using that shield that lowers her dex by 3. Theoretically, we could give everyone like 30 dex. It's gonna bother me. It's gonna bother me that we had to sneak through the Slayers and the Lieutenant. Like, what could we do to potentially overcome that challenge? I think we'd have to raise our dex to 30 to even get a chance to respawn before they take all their turns and haste themselves and whatnot. Then we would need to definitely cast Verse Elemental. Or, sorry, Verse Necromancy. On top of that, they cast Verse Elemental against themselves, so we can't fireball them. We could cast Air Shield, protect ourselves. It really was the Wall of Bones on top of everything else that screwed us up. If they didn't have Wall of Bones, we probably would have been able to stall the fight out long enough, because we just would have ran away from them, healed up, cast Air Shield, picked them off one by one. But Wall of Bones is just the instant death. It's the banhammer. It's the get out of this fight spell. Alright, only one survivor. He flees to tell the other bandits to stay away from our group, hopefully. Are we taking the wrong path? We are. It's because I was trying to avoid that bandit. I mean, do we stand a chance if we go to Talawalk and soup up our spells? Do we stand any kind of chance? The real problem... Oh, come on! We don't want to fight more bandits. Oh my goodness. Problem is, I don't think better spells is going to allow us to take a turn before they take all their turns. Oh, we failed to cast? Ah, we don't have... Alaron's low on stamina. That's annoying. So much for the clean sweep on these bandits. Or the dream of a clean sweep. Rita just doesn't contribute anything. I'm just gonna skip her turn. What? Brenna, don't get hit by that. It is pretty amusing, though, that we managed to utilize the stealth potions on top of Beckon's base ranger skill. Or not ranger. Ranger doesn't count for stealth. It's literally their stealth skill, right? I'm almost certain Beckon has like a 3. He starts out with a 3 in stealth or something like that. Alright, that's a dire wolf. Yeah, otherwise, I think the only way to fight them would be to protect yourself from Wall of Bones. We could try... They debilitated us, which means... Do we have debilitation? I think it lowers your armor, but it might do something else. Let's check. Oh wait, wrong menu. Pretty sure we have debilitate, right? No, we don't. Huh. Someone else have it? No, I don't know what that spell is. Do we have a wand of debilitation or a scroll? No. Alright. Well, I think debilitation lowers armor class. But we're not afraid of that. Also because we can offset it with air shield. Is the answer to cast stupidity? They cast verse elemental, but stupidity is a naming spell, I believe. Yeah, because Rita knows it. It seems to all come down to Rita taking a turn before they do, which A, we can't guarantee, and B, would require investment of a significant amount of EXP to give her high dex. Which isn't undoable. Why is this fight taking so long? These are not threatening enemies, but we seem to be doing so little damage. It's the doggone spirit shield that the bandit bosses cast. That and the fact we have to run across the entire map to get here. I don't know, guys. Should we go ahead and try and mess with the lieutenants and slayers? I think I'm tipping my hand to you a little bit too much when I've been talking about them so much. You must know what's running through my mind. My mind is thinking, Yeah, but what if we tweak our party just a little bit? What if we do this just a little bit? And then we go back and fight him and try a different strategy. Like, my interest is piqued. I didn't expect to do this. I expect to just go to Talawalk and then go straight to Cardog Isle. Kind of think maybe we should try and kill the Slayers. We'll take a look at Rita's EXP after this and see what the chances are of her being able to cast or get 30 decks. It's pretty expensive, I remember that. She might have the EXP required though. And then some change. But I really wanted to spend that on the Talawalk school, not here. We'll be able to tell after this fight ends. Wow, there's only 6,000? Ugh. Get more from killing those ogres. It's funny how much EXP the ogres are worth when their fights are over with so much faster. Okay, so Rita has 289,000. Yeah, that's probably enough for her decks. But I don't want to spend it all on that. I wanted to spend it on raising her spells. But to be honest, she doesn't have that many spells. Not really. Tell you what, we'll give her 2 points in dex for the time being. And then if we do try the Chaos Slayer shenanigans, we will unequip the Sun Shield, since that's not going to do any good against Wall of Bones anyway. We're almost there. This feels like a longer walk on the way back, in spite of the fact that we're not trying to explore everything. I think it's probably because it's way less interesting to go back. And unlike Quest 64, we don't get dexterity experience points for running around the overworld. Oh well. Now, if I remember correctly, there were 2 professors in the school. One taught all of the verse spells, and the other taught all the good elemental spells. I'm going the wrong way. Gold really isn't a factor, so we don't need to worry about that. I suppose if the spirit wolves still spawn behind the school, that would be a valid option for getting some fast EXP if we needed it. I'm not going to fight them, but I am going to go check to see if they're back. I think there's a certain point where it cuts off their respawn. I thought it was after you do the cinematic with Ardra. It's when they stop coming back. Yeah. Oh, no, they're there. Interesting. Maybe they just keep respawning indefinitely. Okay, so that's an option for fighting the Slayer. Yeah, alright guys. Sorry. We're gonna do it. We're gonna fight the Slayer. I can't resist the challenge. Okay, so let's take a look at what verse spells we get. Well, first off, let's go ahead and crank Wizard up to 8, because that's easily what's going to be the most expensive. Like, already, Rita has less than half of the EXP we gathered. Alaron will put up to 8 as well. And Brenna will put up to 7. Yeah, mostly just because we don't even have the EXP to put her up to 8. Unfortunately, that's where most of our EXP went, but we saved a lot of EXP by doing that. Because that wizard stat gets so expensive. What does Mirror do? Mirror protects against offensive spells, but we just want protection against Verse Necromancy. Annoyingly, Verse Necromancy isn't even... We can't give Rita a higher Verse Necromancy from this guy. So maybe there's less to do here for Rita than I thought. I feel like maybe we should go ahead and give Alaron Verse Necromancy. That way he's another character who, if he gets his turn first, he can go ahead and throw that down. Kind of want to give him Verse Star as well, in case we run into more monsters that use Starlight Web. I mean, it wasn't that expensive. It was about 50,000 EXP to get it up to 8. Tell you what, let's go check in with the other wizard first. And take a look at those tasty elemental spells. Isn't he just like hanging out in the walkway out here? I think. Yeah, isn't this him? No. JK. Alright, he must be in one of these rooms. Yeah, this is him. Hello, Professor! Yeah, he has level 10 on all of these. That's pretty nice. What do we want? Earth Smite, Dragon Flames. Dragon Flames is pretty good. I think we were going to teach Brenna Lightning. Okay, we don't have enough EXP for Lightning. So Brenna, we should probably test out Lightning these days. Test out what a level 8 Lightning from a level 7 Wizard Brenna looks like. I think I also want to pump up Dragon Flames. Oh, that's expensive. Alright, Dragon Flames is now 10. I don't really care about Wind. Wind seemed kind of like garbage. What's Immolation do? Oh, Immolation's kind of like the acid move. And then, of course, Rita can't do anything here, so we don't really care. Alright, so maybe we can spend that EXP, that leftover EXP that Rita has on Dexterity. Took us so long to get this EXP, and it spends so quickly. Verse naming, yeah, that seems like a useless ability. Alright, we'll go ahead and give Alaron an 8 in Verse Star. And that's gonna pretty much cap out his EXP. And we'll just keep Brenna where she is. Alright, well, that is all of our EXP in that regard. Let's go ahead and fight the Spirit Wolves once. Pump up our dex. What I really wish is that there was someone who taught Stupidity, because that would be the other angle, right? We could have Rita cast Stupidity on the monsters as well. So not only would we be resistant, but they would be unlikely to cast a spell at a high level. I just realized I forgot to heal Rita. Alright, these Spirit Wolves shouldn't be any trouble, but on the off chance that somehow they manage to kill someone, we should save. And partially this is to get a little bit of EXP, but also this is mostly to trigger our ability to spend EXP on Dex. Because as I'm sure you've realized, you can't cast... You can't cast, can't spend EXP whenever you want. You can only do it after a battle. Interestingly, now that we know that the Blood Axe is a magic weapon, we're a-okay to have Beckon fight the Spirit Wolf. Now, Dragon Flames is at level 10 now. Let's test this out, see how good this is. Pretty good. Went from doing about 20 to 25 to looks like about 40 to 50. Pretty good bump, especially considering that you don't have to aim it at anything. It's not going to hit your party. Ah, gosh darn spring. It's not even spring yet. And we'll have Brenna test out her new lightning spell. I would imagine it's probably on a similar power level to... Dragon Flame. Everyone's exhausted. We'll have Brenna turn around so she can at least face her attacker and then cast lightning. Fails to cast a spell? Okay. It's a little anticlimactic. Might be because it's nighttime. Also, her intelligence isn't terribly high. I don't think it's low. It's probably not amazingly high or anything. Spirit Wolf resists. Double resist. It's pretty ugly. Okay, Brenna, look, we just want to see lightning. Come on! Wow. The team is kind of just blundering here. Or at least I feel like our two spellcasters are. Beckon and Rita are doing fine. We have a fleeing Spirit Wolf, which is nice, but now we don't have to mess with him. Is it... There we go. I was gonna say, is it worth it to even follow these guys, or are they just gonna flee? Hopefully that other one gets the message and flees as well. Nope. Really? You could just leave, you know? Save us all the time. Fine, be that way. There, you happy? Anyway. Yeah, let's go ahead and give as much dex as Alaron can get, which apparently is only 1 level. And any dex that Rita can get, we'll give her... That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to the max. 30 dex. Very nice. It's hopefully going to give her the best chance of taking a turn before those other guys jump into the fray. And then Alaron will be her backup. He also has the Verse Necromancy at the same level. It's going to be quite the walk back. Although we were going to have to make this walk anyway. My real concern is that we might need to boost... No, I don't think we need to boost anything else. Can't boost Stupidity, and even if we could, we don't have any EXP to do it. Everyone's EXP is pretty much spent. Nah, I think we try it with what we've got here. Gotta remember to unequip Rita's shield, though. There we go. So she's running at the full 30 dex. Should give her the highest chance possible to take a turn first. Or at least earlier in combat. I don't quite understand what determines turn order. Because I know dex determines the number of turns you get in a round, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to take your turn first, so I don't really understand it. But I assume having a higher dex, thus giving you a more turns in a round, would give you a higher chance to take a turn before the other guys, but could be completely wrong on that. Okay, we'll make the long trek back to Port Said. We'll ignore any bandits we can, although hopefully there just won't be any, since we cleared the roads on the way here and we haven't slept or anything. So I'm hoping they haven't respawned. Of course, the only triggering mechanism that is required to make the spirit wolves respawn is just going in and out of a building. So maybe our chances aren't good. I don't see anything yet. I don't know, though. I think the trek was worth it. We definitely saved a lot in EXP. It's hard to feel that way when our EXP is spent so quickly, but really, those wizard levels are what killed us. And if we want wizard level 9 and 10, it's going to be even more prohibitively expensive. I think level 10 requires 100,000 EXP. I think. It's quite a bit. Might be one of those things we hold off for until, like, the end game. Especially because the advantages are probably linear rather than exponential. Like, the difference between level 9 and 10 is probably the same difference between level 1 and 2, would be my guess. So yes, while technically it would still be better, it's more important that you have some levels in Wizard rather than all levels in Wizard. Can't prove that, but that would be my guess. Seems to be the way this game would function. So what I mean by that is, imagine that these aren't the real numbers, obviously, but imagine that Wizard gives you like a +1 to hit for casting spells. So each level of Wizard gives you a +1. So spending 1,000 EXP to go from level 1 to level 2 gives you +1, and spending 100,000 EXP to go from level 9 to level 10 still just gets you a +1. That would be my guess. And if that's true, then we aren't really pressured to get the level 10. Because level 8 is probably good enough. Okay, we've saved the game. We're at full health. It's morning, which is what we want. Let's go tango with this lieutenant. Slasher. Hey, buddy. Right here. Let's go. So they're probably going to do the same thing they did last time. They're going to open up with haste, and then they're going to debilitate everybody, and then they will swap into Wall of Bones. Oh, of course. How can we forget the Starlight Shield? Oh, right. And the Verse Elemental. Forgot about that. Guess there's quite a few things I forgot. So they haste, Starlight Shield, Verse Elemental, then go into the Wall of Bones. Oh, debilitate. Haste, Starlight Shield, Verse Elemental, debilitate, Wall of Bones. Because our willpower isn't super high and their intelligence is probably pretty high, we aren't gonna... Look, it's not looking good like we're gonna be able to resist these outright. Really hoping Rita just gets a... What, Brenna? Brenna gets... Alright. Well, I don't want to throw Brenna, like, right into the middle of them, because I don't really know how strong these guys are. So we're going to put her on the edge, even though it's not really a backstab scenario. We're going to put her on the edge and fight this one. Oh! Oh, good. Good. We can deal 1 HP damage. There's the Wall of Bones. Wonderful. Crushing Earth. Okay, so we're going to need Verse Elemental. Wow, that's a lot of damage. Jeez. Alright, so we're not really even getting a chance to respond. Wow. 81 damage. Yeah, I think we just... Oh, Alaron's dead. Okay. Yeah, alright, fine. Never mind. I think even if we did grind against these fellows, it would take a very long time before we were strong enough to fight them. Those seem like endgame monsters. Like, sure, we can Wall of Bones... We can cast Verse Necromancy to fight against Wall of Bones, but we can't cast Verse Necromancy to fight against Wall of Bones while also using Verse Elemental to fight off the 81 damage that they're dealing with Earth Smite, while also only dealing 1 damage back to them with Brenna. And the fact that we got, what, 1 turn and they took about 8? In spite of having 30 decks on Rita. Yeah, just overall I think we just sneak past these guys and go back to our business. Not worth it to mess with them. So here you go, folks. The one time in the game where stealth has been useful. We're only like 30 hours in. It apparently will get you back to Talawak from Port Said when that crazy mofo decides to guard the bridge. Okay, we're probably safe now. Yeah, but seriously, yikes! 81 damage from an Earth Smite. How do you fight against that? I think you just have to... What, like... have 30 willpower, a bazillion HP, and... I mean, it's not even like our wizard stat is low, although I don't think wizard gives you defense against other wizard spells, so that's probably moot. It would probably take hours of fighting those spirit wolves and just padding out your stats in order to stand a good chance against them. Which doesn't sound like fun. It seemed like they were purposefully placed there, though, to prevent you from going back to Talawak, which is weird. Oh well. We should be able to get a boat now. Let's go find Armand. Armand! Yes, it is I, Bernard. I think this is his hut, maybe. No, that's the guy who went across the bridge's hut. No, none of those buildings are it. It's this one. Right? Yeah, because you can't go into those doors for some reason. You have to do this door. Come on, Amaran. Oh, he's gone. Maybe he's already on the boat. That big boat with the sun on it is our... That's the one we're shooting for. What? Come on! Fine. Walk around. I don't think the Jester has anything new to say. Yeah, just his old... He wants to be a beard. Wait, we lit the lighthouse? Where'd Where's Amaran? Also, that boat is actually really small. Like when you look at it and you think, oh, that's a pretty big boat. Look how big the sail is. But when you look at the boat itself, that is such a tiny boat. Alright, so we lit the lighthouse. Did we do everything? Oh, that's so weird. You can go that direction, but you can't go back. Oh, you can. You just have to kind of clip through there. Do you know anything about Alaron? Not Alaron. Amaran? I could have sworn he was in this building. No, for the first time since we started playing, I actually don't know what to do. Surely there has to be some way to trigger this. Hey, crazy guy. Alright, he just tells us to be gone. Now, Kate's bones are back for some reason. I thought we did everything, though. We lit the lighthouse. Was there someone else we needed to talk to? Did someone else want us to light this thing? Let's try this one. It's just another shopkeeper. I don't understand. We lit the lighthouse. Was there some, like, there wasn't any big important person who wanted us to do this, did they? I just realized there's never an option to tell people that you're not interested in what they have. You always have to select one or the other. Do you think we need to talk to Nalia? The innkeeper lady? Girl? Boy, ahoy there, boy! Sorry, can I help you? Don't you remember me? You're famous. I want to thank you for removing the lunkbring from our bridge. Squire here, that's not necessary. Nonsense! There's no harm in taking what's yours. 200 gold pieces is nothing to us now. Things are ever much more profitable in town. Thank you. I think Arturo is happier too. Nice to see you again. Just a moment. One good deed deserves another. Do you think gold is the only way to meet an obligation? Don't you need some information? Oh. Okay. Well, let's ask if he's ever heard of a sailor named Aman. That's the guy we're looking for. I have a better man you won't find. He's dying to leave Port Said, though. If you want to see him, you'd better hurry down to the docks. Well, maybe that's where we need to go. Oh, now he's there? Or did we see him and we just didn't talk to him? I feel pretty dumb. Here we go. Now, men, all hands, do you remember that sweet order? Or are ye just a bunch of land-loving slugs? Stewards, quick bellow and call. All hands, the light is lit. We sail. Not one more night in port. Not one more second in this rat-trap town. Aman, get lost, kid. I'm busy. You don't remember me. You didn't tell me there'd be monsters guarding the lamp. You promised a boat. Let's go with that one. I promised. You know you did. Now, there's your light. Look, boy. You said you needed to sail to Cardog's Isle. Well, I've heard of the place, and you made a big impression. Now, I don't know who ye be, or what ye are, or how ye managed on them cliffs, but I am sure that it's not anything natural. I know myself that the tower is charmed, and I've lost crew enough not to need knowing any more. Whatever ye may be, magician, sorcerer, or worse, I don't want ye on deck. Wow. We can say you're not the only boat in Port Said. A deal's a deal. You're right. I'm a dangerous magician. I'm gonna say a deal's a deal. You got no deal, matey. And you won't get one neither. Not to Cardog's Isle. You're not the only boat in Port Said? Ye right. I'm not. Plenty other for ye to try. Best of luck. Get lost. Wow. He says, are you gonna offer me a deal? We say, yep. This time, and I have the money. How much? I don't know what cargo I carry. We sail! Anything might happen. You got some money? It'll cost you. Name your price. I'm selling blind. Who are ye, anyway? A traveler and nothing more. You're lying to me for... What is going on here? Wait, why did we... Okay. He told us no. Now we're talking to him, and he's acting like he doesn't know who we are. And... we're gonna give him 400 gold for passage. Done, I have it right here. Later, I'll prime the ship. Meet me here before the next tide. Don't even think about sailing off without me. Guys, that was a very strange interaction. What took ye so long? Ah, free again from this prison ye call land. Looks pretty rough out there. Like, what? What was that interaction? Anchors away! He went from being like, nah man, you scare me, to like, oh, who are you? Yeah, costs 400. Did you get a chance to mention that bad store to Amon? What? Oh my, sorry Dan. I thought you was supposed to tell him. You know, Connie, Amon sure has a nice location for his shop. I think he'd want us to have it if he didn't make it back. I think you're right, honey. No sense in wasting time. I'll try and find the locksmith. Wow. So suddenly the boat is a lot bigger. Captain, how long will it take to get to the Namer's Isle? Kid, if you ask me again, I'll turn this ship into tinder and burn the thing out from under. Sorry, I'm just anxious. What are you looking at, Amon? Quick, get your weapons out. We're under attack. Up there. Oh, you mean that treasure chest I totally want to plunder? Griffins! Oh, wait, no, whoops, that's Alaron. Griffins! It is kind of interesting to think that flying creatures might attack a ship. However, if memory serves, griffins are not strong. They're also just standing there doing nothing, so whatever. Yeah, wow. Either the AI is busted, or this is just a really unfinished part of the game. I'm kind of betting the latter, especially due to the way that we got on the ship, the way that Amon interacted with us and was like, wait, who are you? I don't know, who are you? It just cost 400. Yeah, that was super weird. Those griffins just stood there. Okay, finally on the seas. You'd best hold tight there, lad. That there's storm's getting worse by the minute. I've never seen a storm so big. Aye, we're in for a blow, that's certain. Should I get below, Captain? Plain of Ghost, boy, no! This ain't no ordinary storm. Don't ye see how the thunderheads seem to close in on and around us? I tell ye, it's black magic. And that's for sure. If you had a plan for when we reach this point, boy, now would be the time to tell it. That branch that Uraza gave me, it's tied to the helm. Where? I don't see nothing on the helm. Right there! That ain't the helm, you bilge bug! That's the mast! Alright, so Alaron seemingly doesn't know what the helm of a boat is, and thus ties it to the mast, Uraza's stick instead of the helm. Oh, why didn't you tell me? We're doomed as ducks, ain't we? Because of a little mistake like that? Nah. Look out! That stick is the key to calming the winds, but let's give it a little help. I don't know nothing about branches, but if your Azza says it'll calm the storm, then hop to it. The first wave is about to hit us. Hoy! Look at the rain tear up the sea like that. Help away, by all means. Now what did she say? What was it? It's getting rough, Alaron. Whatever you're going to do, do it quick. I need some room, Amon. You're on a ship, boy. This is all the room we got. Thanks. Unbelievable the crew I get these days. Go on! Oh, Jiminy. That looks like some good branch to me. Why does it sound like a drug thing? Like, that's some good branch. But that wind and those waves are going to batter my poor boat like an angry troll. Have no fear, Captain. That branch is a gift from the Mirari. It'll calm the wind and allow us to pass through the storm. And the lightning? Lances of doom they are if they strike my poor ship. Will your branch help us against that? Uraza never mentioned anything about lightning. Wonderful. Absolutely splendid, lad. Would you care to summon up a sea monster for us as well? I mean, why stop at Sorceress Lightning? I've never seen lightning like that. Neither have I, lad. Neither have I. I don't know what you mean. I mean, your skills ain't natural, and neither are you. And whoever or whatever you are stands against you ain't natural either. What's the matter, Captain? Don't you like magic? Why did I ever allow myself to carry you? I'm nobody important. Right, and I'm a dancing master. Look out, here it comes. You'd best get below, lad, now. Below where? There's no entrance to the bottom of the ship. Magic or no magic, I don't like this storm a bit. Neither do I. Ah, stop that belly aching and learn to crew. What happened? What just happened? When did we save? I think it was back. Oh, okay. I think it was actually back. Give me a moment here. I think the game just crashed. Okay, we're back to where we were. Hopefully it doesn't crash this time. That crash is more than likely not an emulator issue. That's probably just an Aidyn Chronicles issue. It's not uncommon for Aidyn Chronicles to crash or freeze like that. So, fingers crossed? Alright, we're able to do it. Magic or no magic, I don't like this storm a bit. Neither do I. Oh, whoops. No, we'd already seen that part. Okay, this was the part. Oh, there. Okay, never mind. Looks like we still passed it. Lash that sail, men, and pull those lines. Move, move, ye scurvy dogs, or we'll all be bedding down on the bottom of the world. Apparently that was it. Boy, it's an island. We'll have to stop for repairs. Do you recognize the island? We'll worry about where we are later. We've got to make land fast. I'm sure that giant skull is just for cosmetic purposes. Anyway, don't worry. It looks harmless enough to me. Wow. Really? Really, Amon? Ah, just look at her. I can't believe it. That was some storm. Well, that's what comes of sorcery, I suppose. Why didn't your Raz's stick work? Beats me. Could it have something to do with the fact that you don't know a mast from a helm? I'll say this much. There's not a bit of damage where that stick's magic shined. Must have been something to it after all. Maybe this really is one of them legendary storm breakers. We're not going anywhere for a while. There's damage to the sail and part of the bow. The foremast is split. How long before we set out? A while. It's not like we washed up on a port or even on a town. In fact, this has got to be one of the most forsaken bits of coast I've seen in a long time. Any idea where we are? None. Whatever this island is... Dramatic pause. It's not on any chart I know. But then again, maybe it ain't supposed to be. Am I right, boy? About what? Magic is as magic does. You sure this ain't some spot you were headed to? I don't think so.
Oh, you don't? Well, in any case, you hadn't noticed, boy. You aren't quite aware of all that's happening to you. I saw that the minute I laid eyes on you.
The island does have a magical air.
Does it? Well then, why don't you quit guessing at this? That, and the other. Why don't you quit asking me where we turned up? Why don't you take a little walk and find out?
Alright, I'll stay if you don't mind. Are you trying to get rid of me, Amon?
No, sir. I don't need any magicians coming after me on the sea.
I'm not a magician.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Excuse me a moment. Would you... Excuse me a moment, would you, Mr. No-One Nobody?
Alright, we'll go take a walk.
Now you're talking. I'll stay and fix the ship.
Okay, so Amon is understandably a little concerned that we've crash-landed on this random island, which is on the map, in all fairness, so it's not like people don't know about this thing. Not the most hospitable-looking of places, though, that's for sure. And I know it's a little short, but I think that's where we're going to quit for the day. When we get back, we will take a look at this unnamed isle and see what horrors await for us within. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.